the over diagnoses of everything. It's like, you have this, you have that. And then people take that as an excuse to not ever have to get better.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, now I can be permanent because I realize that I've got this. I went to the doctor and the doctor says that I have this. And so that's the reason why I don't respond. I've got ADHD. I think now it's like 1 in 2 people has ADHD. And that's why I'm not able to focus and do my homework or complete a task or keep going to the gym every single day. And I hate it. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I really can't think of a quicker way to destroy your mind than go to therapy.
I'm sorry.
To just I don't want to cut you off. Please finish. I want to say, I don't want to lose it. There needs to be mental healing from generational trauma.
Absolutely.
To support what you're saying.
So do you believe, with that statement being made, do you believe that there are currently enough programs right now in your present community for mental health services, especially for young boys or young men? Can anybody else speak to if there's enough mental health assistance or help for young men or young people, whatever? I don't even want to discriminate. I just want to say, is there enough? So why don't we fight for that? Our community is hurting. We need more services such as mental health people. We need more.
Real quick, it's part of that. That's the problem too, is as a community, how we believe in mental health, right? You hear a lot in our community that we don't need no psychologist. You know what I'm saying? We talk to each other in the barbershop. That's our mental health. So it's even changing the mindset around that kind of help and support. We don't have that because our community.
I believe we do have the resources. We're just not well informed on them.
Thank you. Okay. So now
I advocate.
Now we're getting somewhere.
And I tell people about therapy. If you have health insurance, you can go see counseling for little to no money. You might have to pay a co-payment depending on who your insurance is, but it might be free. I take therapy for free.
I remember there being.
Society really started going down the drain when we started getting into mental health awareness. And this is maybe one of my most controversial viewpoints, but I say it over and over on the show. Everybody needs a therapist. They're talking about their feelings. The truth is that every feeling you have isn't valid, doesn't need to be explored. Sometimes you just have a wacky feeling and you need to just let it go. And because my grandfather was such an impact on my life, strongest man that I've ever known, didn't shed a tear at my grandmother's funeral. They were together from the time he was 17 years old until her dying day. I'm certain he collapsed when he got home.
Yeah, of course.
But this traditional display of masculinity in my grandfather's perspective that a man needs to let it die in his chest, before displaying this emotion had an impact on me. And when I see Prince Harry, on TV, with his arms like this, breathing and showing what he learned in therapy, it makes me want to die a little when I see men acting like this.
Completely. And
that's controversial because they're supposed to say, oh my God, he's so brave. It's so stunning. Like, he's showing this side of him. Everything about Prince Harry to me is what a man should not be.
There's an endless amount of that information out there. We're literally in the age of information.
I don't think it's discussed enough that people are just well informed of that, though.
They were running better health commercials for a while on every social media platform.
Yeah, YouTube. That's definitely a thing. So the problem is that, again, the same way that we have people that want better and people that are content with it, you have to seek knowledge. Nobody is going to give you that. So for us to expect for people that don't want it to go out and look for it, even if it's right in front of their faces, right? We just all acknowledge that our culture or subculture, the music, whatever, is terrible, is horrendous, is destroying us. It's right in our face, but yet it's still valid, yet it's still predominant. In Chicago, we had King Von that was openly admitted to unaliving people. Guess what WGCI did, a radio station? They took out a billboard and said, "Happy heavenly birthday, King Von," in Chicago.
Our bad, Jay. We completely cut you off, and that was rude and disrespectful for all of us that just did that. Our bad. Go ahead and finish.
Nah, I'm
Y'all
good.
degenerate.
Hey, you
That's
just
why
cut
y'all
me off. Shit.
degenerates. I thought I
I'm
was
so
okay.
sorry, Jay. I thought you were going to finish. I just wanted to chime in and make that statement about
really
mental
on
health,
that.
but I didn't mean to cut you off
Y'all some
completely.
goddamn bullies.
And,
Y'all some
and,
bullies.
and one second, and my last point, like, you know, I worked in that field with, you know, short-term disability leave of absence and, you know, directing people to mental health services. And even when you know, even that's not as easy as people say it, because I hear it a lot. I hear people say, oh, you know, you look through your job, you can get free, you can get a few free sessions, or there are people whose life is in turmoil right now. When you call these places and they talking about, oh yeah, we could find somebody 2 months from now, 3 months from now, my shit already done burned to the ground. You know what I mean? And it's just not enough. You know, everywhere, universally, everything is understaffed. You know what I mean? Restaurants, any business is supremely understaffed. After COVID, you know, it's still recovering. So mental health services, understaffed. You understand? So if you call in and, you know, somebody told you, oh, just call them up and, you know, they'll help, they're going to be waiting like 3 months, 2 months. You know, if you get lucky, you know, you'll find something earlier. God bless. But in most cases, you're not going to get somebody to help you right away. You know, and if you do know a service where somebody can do that, you know, within the next 2 weeks, a week or two, you know, definitely spread that information. But I know a lot of the stuff that I've come across, you know, from doing work with like Nike, nah, they weren't responding. The earliest appointment is 3 months out. You know, my life is in turmoil now.
You got to toughen up. And when people are able to strap you to the existence of being a victim, when people sell you that being a victim is a brand that is cool, they can control you. And that's what we see happening in so many different communities. You can be gay and not be a victim. You can be black and not be a victim. What we're seeing spreading like wildfire is a victor mentality. The idea that you can overcome anything that you've lived through, that you can overcome what I've lived through, that I can overcome being in a small apartment with my siblings that had roaches, visiting my uncles in prison, living through what was classified as a hate crime when I was in high school. I can overcome all of that and stand on this stage in front of 550 people and talk about all the things that I want to accomplish, to give up my past because I believe in my future.
Yeah, Jay, I think about a friend of mine who was struggling with.
Brittany was saying earlier, talking about these certain subset of people we just don't need to bother with them or deal with them. See, that's part of the problem.
I didn't say that.
Kicking the can down the road. That is part of the problem with it we talk about. People always want to kick the can down the road. We done that for a long time. You know what I'm saying? We got that slave mentality. It's our problem. Not slavery is affected. Now it's just a mentality that they left upon us, that stain they left upon us, and we still think like that. We don't want to address the small things. See, maybe we do need to address the small things. Then we can work our way up to the bigger things. See, the problem is a real man will address another young man if he's walking around with his pants sagging, acting a certain way, carrying on sort. Ladies, y'all don't want to address that because y'all not confrontational. I understand. Y'all just not confrontational. It's just not in y'all nature. Y'all will not say nothing. Y'all will let that shit ride past you and just go on.
No, that's
y'all
not
stick
what
your
we were
head
saying, though,
in the back. Yeah, I didn't interrupt nobody, but can I please not be interrupted? Thank you, ma'am. So y'all will not address that shit on the front end, but y'all will go on the back room and say, girl, did you see how she was wearing that bonnet? You see how she was wearing that old dress? She knows she shouldn't have her girls all out like that. Y'all say something then, but y'all won't address the situation when it's in your face. A man will say, hey, dog, man, why are you moving like that? Why you getting aggressive with that girl, man? You might want to just walk away, cool off, and come back later, maybe have a conversation. We don't have no problem with dealing with whatever comes with. He might say, fuck you, Hank. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I can accept that, and we'll still have the conversation. Ladies, y'all won't say nothing. Psh, I ain't saying nothing to that bitch. Let that bitch go on. She looks silly wearing that outfit. We need to address these certain things, but we don't want to address them. You know what we'll do? We'll blame the white man. Look, the white man ain't got to do nothing no more. We do ourselves that way. The white man just sit back and throw his hands up and watch and be entertained. And we'll sit there, y'all talk about these shows, these reality shows. No, y'all support these shows. Y'all watch these shows. Y'all encourage these shows. And y'all be talking about it at the water cooler. That's part of the problem. Why are you giving them these shows, these ratings that we know it's not good for our community, that we know it is not part of this going to uplift us in any type of way? We're not. Just like like Vince just said, this ragged ass radio station said, happily, heavenly birthday to King Von. That is shameful. And anybody who listens to that station, y'all should turn it off. Shouldn't listen to that station no more. But for them to do some shit like that, we shouldn't be supporting that shit. It's not in our favor. It is not. We should be reporting things just the opposite. If we see negative shit on the news, why ain't y'all calling to news station? Why every time you show something, it's always got to be something negative about the black community? Why can't y'all show anything positive about us? If you got friends, family showing nothing but negativity, why can't y'all say to y'all, hey, cuz, why everything you post something is always negative about us? Why can't you say something now? Post something that's encouraging, uplifting. But we don't do that. Matter of fact, we encourage it. We'll support it. We'll like it. We'll say, man, and then we'll send them on the DMs. Hey, man, I found this. Some more discouraging shit about us. It's not helping us. It's not helping us at all, but we're not doing that. We are our own worst enemies, and yet we don't want to admit that. We are our own worst enemies.
That was my point.
I got you. I know your point. You're going to let me know in a second. I'm almost finished. We'll do anything to discourage or do that, but we'll put the blame on somebody else. When are we going to accept accountability? When are we going to start doing this? When are we going to stop kicking the can down the road and try to fix the things we can fix? And then guess what, Brittany? Get policies in order to help us move our agenda. That's part of our problem. We got to come together. Are we really going to do it? We'll see. I think it's all talk. And then to go back to what Diane was saying, I think it's already here, Bruiser. Men are already leaving the country already to try to find better or what they consider better because they don't see what's in here. They see everything. It's like you said, you can't really tell the difference. If you find a good woman, fellas, you better hold on to her because they not a hoe is a dime a dozen. A good woman is hard to find. Keep what you got. Don't sit there and leave her because her political views are not aligned with yours. That shit's crazy. That makes no sense to me. But y'all was up there saying, yeah, I think you need to get out while you can. Just because the political views are different, so nothing else is good about this man. Yeah. Nothing else brings benefit or some type of upset. But his political views is a difference. So I think we don't need to get married. I think I need to divorce you. I don't think we need to be together. That don't make sense. That's not about family. You all about self and what makes yourself feel good.
What you're seeing happening today, obviously we have some black people that are just shouting in the back. We have some black people that are sitting in the front quietly that are chanting USA and having a normal conversation. You're going to hear it in this room first. Okay. There's an ideological civil war happening. Black people that are focused on their past and shouting about slavery, and black people that are focused on their futures, okay? I can guarantee you what you're seeing happening is victim mentality versus victor mentality. And I promise you, I can tell you right now who is going to be better off when we look 20 years, when we look at the faces in this room, who is going to be better off are the girls that are sitting right here and across this room because they don't have your mentality. Victim mentality is not cool. Nope. I don't know why people like being oppressed. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I love oppression. We're oppressed. 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, which, by the way, none of you guys lived through. Your grandparents didn't. It's embarrassing. You utilize their history and you come in here with more emotion than they ever had when they were living through it. More emotion than they ever had when they were living through it. It's embarrassing. You're not living through anything right now. Nothing. You're overly privileged Americans. It's what's going on right now.
I think we got to understand too is that we are all different, right? We all have different upbringings. We all adopted certain ideologies. Some may be like our mothers and our fathers, but that's what conversation is for. You know, if we disagree on anything, because disagreement is going to always happen. Like any relationship that I'm in or that I start, I am aware that at some point in time, we are going to disagree. And so my focus, and I even highlighted in the beginning, I say, look, we're going to disagree at some point, but let's make sure that we just have a conversation in a respectful manner and we seek understanding. We don't know it all. And if you haven't been studying politics since the age of 5, it just was your thing, there can be some learning from one another. You can actually learn somebody. Somebody don't have to be totally know every single thing about politics. They may have came across some information as to why they think the way they think and feel the way they feel. And they may present that in a conversation between the two couples. And then you might, oh, okay. You know what? I never thought about that. And that's an interesting point. Okay, so then what do you think about this? Like, I think you should at least give it a fair chance or opportunity of understanding before you decide to say that we're not totally aligned. because we all may have just been misunderstood. We all could have gotten the wrong information, but at least you give the relationship or the marriage a chance to grow forward. And if you practice that early on, then when you guys get into some situations, it won't be, you know what, that's it. You know, putting a towel in. I'm gonna play this clip real quick, and we're gonna get to actually.
Can I say one thing real quick?
In the beginning, though.
Real quick.
Huh?
Conversation can be had.
Right, but sometimes in like relationships, you got to wake
Just
up.
like when Biz pointed out his information, it was like, I'm not well informed of that, but thank you for saying that. Conversations can be had, but if we just don't align, we just don't align. And it, like I said in the beginning, it doesn't make one person more right or more wrong.
I agree with you. The only issue that I have is though, because sometimes you have conversations and people are just not seeking to understand. So
I agree.
Right. So when they're having a conversation, it don't really matter what you're going to say because you're not going to be able to sway them because they're not willing to receive whatever information that you're saying. And that's the problem that I have, even when it comes to this whole presidential election. I agree that's bad on both sides, but at least had a conversation. I think it's ignorant when people just say, I said what I said. He's just this. And again, I'm not for either side, but I'm just like, at least had a conversation to see what makes sense for our household. Let's factor in every single thing. Let's not just focus on this one thing. Okay, let's put it side by side. So far, Kamala is leading in our household. Trump is leading in our household. Based off what we came together and put together, these are my non-negotiables when it comes to him and her, vice versa. Let's go here as a family. That seems to be the most like logical. Okay, well, you know how I am. I grew up in the church. I'm more focused on character. Okay, well, is there anything that's flawed in Kamala's character? Like, this is how we can solve a lot of our problems by just communicating with one another. And when we do communicate, seeking understanding. Go ahead, Brittany, real quick, and then I'm just going to run some audio of Dr. Umar who's on Breakfast Club.
My point might be a little out of place now because it did snowball back into the political conversation, but I just wanted to add a little clarity to Hink's point earlier when he said that we can't just kick the can down the road and ignore the subcultures. I never said we have to ignore it. Only thing I was saying, and I want to make sure I'm clear, is that when we address the issues of these subcultures, you know, the people not working, the people sagging their pants, the women who have no respect for themselves, we have to take into account the bigger issues that are going on and not just like focus on telling them pull your pants up. We have to understand that there is generational trauma. We have to understand that there is a lack of, I won't say lack of resources, since we all, I guess, agree that the resources are out there, but maybe a lack of advocacy and outreach to help teach these individuals about what's out there. I'm not saying completely ignore what's happening and not, take responsibility for what's happening in your community or within your circle, but we have to address it from a holistic standpoint, knowing that just telling somebody to pull up their pants is not going to be enough. That's all I was saying.